From Breitbart.com, Kanye canceled by Kanye walks out of Tim Pool interview when asked to defend his anti-Semitism.
I mean, the bias is
that is spicy.
evident,
But like, here's the crazy thing about it. I was like letting him speak about it. I said, okay, if that's me. So some people are like, Tim, you know, you should have just let him speak. And Tim only wanted to talk about Trump because Trump's a safe subject and he was scared about being banned. And I'm like, we said, okay, we're going to talk about it.
Right.
We let him start talking about it.
We also
you also weren't like defend your anti-Semitism.
No,
that wasn't what
like,
you asked
what do
me
you mean?
to.
Don't you think?
it would have been a conversation that would have exchanged different ideas. There was different ideas coming from different points of view here that obviously would have clashed. The audience could have decided which idea is better. Me and Tim were sitting here with some of, let's be honest here, some of the smartest, most intelligent, most creative minds in the entire political, social industry. And we were ready to have a conversation. We were ready to challenge our beliefs, their beliefs, and to come up with a discourse. We came here for that conversation. The other side left. And
I just feel like
I don't get it though. I don't get it.
See, that's what I think the thing is. Like, I think the accusation of being anti-Semitic is so radioactive that it puts everyone involved on the defensive, both the people who want to respond to the accusation and the people who are levying the accusation. And I can only imagine in Kanye's position that you are, or in Ye's position, I am so sorry, Ye, that you are tense to be prepared to respond to it because you're on the, you are on the defensive all the time.
And I want to shout out, hey, Greg Price, you're wrong. He says, Ye got up and left the Timcast studio less than 10 minutes into the show. Not true. You tweeted it at 8:25, bro. The show went live at 7:59.
Yeah.
It's 26 minutes, 25 on the clock, but it is what it is. I thought we were going to have that conversation in a member. I thought Ye wanted to actually like defend his position on it.
yeah,
That's what I was hoping
if you're
for.
going to make some claims, back it up.
Well, and like, what would you have liked to have heard from him? Like, how would you
Look, my view on it
him
is
to present it?
So like we had Bannon on, and Bannon knows that if you question the 2020 election, YouTube gives you a strike. But he also knows I don't agree with him on it. And so he like, it was funny because he knows, and he looks over at Lydia and he's like, I can say that, can I? And then he starts talking about Donald Trump and fraud and stuff. And I was like, dude, now you brought up, we're going to talk about it. Okay. And Bannon entertained the conversation of me disagreeing with him. Mm. Bannon's a savvy, smart guy. When I think the first time we had him on and he and I argued about the election, I said Trump got anti-elected because people assumed that Biden's approval rating was the enthusiasm for Biden was so low he couldn't possibly win, but somehow did. And I said, but did you look at the polls showing enthusiasm against Trump? It was higher than enthusiasm for Trump, according to some pollsters. Mm-hmm. And then Bannon was like, yeah, I like that. He was anti-elected. Yeah, interesting. That's very good.
How often do you have a guest on whose views are difficult to talk about on YouTube? Because especially with all the vaccine stuff, I feel like we've had some where it's just hard to talk about it. Like I remember we had the Surgeon General on from Florida.
But also
he said everything he needed. He was a government official.
But Ye had two people in his corner that are working with him that are also, how do I say this, master debaters that could talk about these subjects.
You're
that
12.
have been.
I just
that
want you to
have
know
been
you're 12 years old.
That have been talking about these subjects for years, and of course are ready to debate them. So he had people in his corner that were here with him, for him, ready to have his side. There was 3 against 2 when it came to this conversation.
Do you wish that you guys had gotten like more time to talk to Nick or more time to talk to
yeah,
Milo?
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Milo was really interesting when he was on the show, and some people have said it's like one of the some high-profile individuals reached out and said that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's really interesting to hear his thoughts. Mm-hmm. Someone pointed out, Robert Spencer in Super Chat said, Milo is purposely making Ye look bad because he really wants Trump to win.
Do you think?
I don't understand. I don't understand that logic.
Yeah,
I don't really think that's how he operates. But
I sorry to interrupt.
No,
I thought like with them getting Fuentes invited to the Trump dinner, that was like really bad for Trump.
Right.
He's getting like every Republican coming out against him. Like they seriously caused harm to Trump. If Milo wanted revenge, that was it.
Definitely.
This negated all of that. Mm-hmm. Ye came out and said, nope, Trump didn't know who Fuentes was. Right. Milo's the one who invited him. Okay, so Trump's in the clear now. So now I have no idea what their plan was. Maybe just trolling, fun, notoriety,
It might all get overshadowed, unfortunately. all of that information might get overshadowed. Who knows?
Do you think the Yay campaign could meet the filing requirements to run for president? Like right now, it's a hypothetical. There's nothing in documentation, right? We don't have a paper trail of a formal campaign.
I'm genuinely confused by whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Just trolling or something?
So what do you think's the best outcome from this?
This, you know, look, if you're someone who disagrees with their views, I think they just shoved their face into the mud. Like, I didn't even, come on. I've got people criticizing me saying I didn't push back hard enough and I shouldn't have let him say those things. And I'm like...
But then
like
there's
you
also
just-
the framing that you're like the hero that asked him to defend his anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Like, choose a framing, right?
Also,
Neither
like,
of those things are true, though.
We got not even a quarter of the way through the show. Like,
Right.
There wasn't enough
like, at
time
least give
to
Tim a chance.
Yeah, let's let some rapport develop. We'll have a...
I mean, they tried to do
get
just
through
that in the
quarter.
pre-show, but it didn't
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
work.
sorry, Serge. We did, in fact, get through a quarter. My false reporting.
Officially,
This is real life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like people who blame their problems on groups of people. Like when Occupy Wall Street did it with the 1%, I said, I mentioned this earlier, like you've got wealthy individuals backing you. You've got obviously people who blame Jewish people. You've got people who blame white people. And I'm like, man, stop blaming everybody else for your problem and roll up your sleeves and chop some lumber, work hard. I get it. You know, I was mentioning this earlier. I was talking to a woke dude years ago, and he said, people don't understand what it's like growing up being like a brown skinned, like Hispanic dude in this country where all the billboards and everything are white people. Every movie you see is white people. Who am I supposed to look up to? So we look up to people in other countries. We look to people who look like us. And my response was, I think it's unfortunate that you see race as a thing as a requirement for what you need to look up to. But I do understand. You have a family. Every day you see your dad. You look up to your dad. He looks like you. You look like him. But then you look at what the country is promoting, and none of these people look anything like you. So I can certainly get that. I hear you. But the reality is there may be dominant groups in every country. In China, the white supremacy is meaningless. It's Chinese. If you're a Uyghur Muslim, you're in serious trouble. It ain't the white people oppressing you. In the United States, the majority of the country is white and Christian. But you can succeed and you can become a billionaire. Ye did it. Mm-hmm. And then when he encounters problems with it, he decided the problem was Jewish people. I'm like, I think it's particular individuals who have it out for you, bro. Not like, bro, the Jewish people who work at this company have literally nothing to do with Ye's troubles.
Is that what he said? Like, that was how he ultimately viewed his problems? Or
Yes. Because I was like, what did they mention? I said, what about Bezos? What about, Shane Smith? What about Elon? And they're like, oh, they all work for Jewish people. And I'm like, what? Bill Gates? Come on, man. I'm sorry, dude. I can't buy that. Look, Vice is a great example. I said this. If you really believe that, I think this might have been before the show. I was like, how do you explain my show? And he said, because God is on our side. I'm like, what, dude? Like, you can't say that if someone is against me, it's a specific group of people. And if we're winning, it's because God is here with us. Either you as an individual, regardless of race, gender, orientation, identity, can succeed, or you think everyone is underneath the boot of some group of people.
So what role do you think identitarian thinking has on the American public? Because I do think the points about, like, we isolate certain racial votes, we use them as blocks to win.
Identity politics and identitarianism aren't necessarily the same. They overlap. Identitarianism is government based on identity. Mm-hmm. So, so I should be careful about how I say that. And I should probably try to clarify better. If you think that you are inhibited in any way, or I should say, if you believe it is impossible because of your identity, then it is a disservice. Like, you are being lied to. There are people I know from the Philippines who are wealthier. Actually, I think it's like Filipino immigrants make like $90K to $120K on average in the United States. Mm-hmm. It's not the race of the individual. It is their perseverance, their willingness to work really, really hard. I think the problem with identitarianism or identity grievance politics is that you start to believe you can't succeed because of immutable characteristics, seek to blame another group of people, and then you get chaos, violence. And that's what we see with, from Occupy to the Antifa to the BLM stuff. Black Lives Matter going on protesting, calling black people white supremacists. I'm like, you see where the ideology is bankrupt? So you get Candace Owens, who's a black woman, who has conservative opinions, and they call her a white supremacist. It's like, okay, your race-based politics are bankrupt. That makes no sense to me. They claim that Luke, being Polish, is a person of color, and we joke about it all the time because Luke is a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired man.
Hey, my people's struggles are real. But there's a problem with generalizations. There's always exceptions to the rules. And I think when you speak in overgeneralizations, whether you're blaming one particular race or all particular white men for your problems, you're just being intellectually lazy. I think there could be a real discussion to be had on a lot of very powerful people, on a lot of very bad people. But once you just start making lazy generalizations, you hurt yourself and you hurt the major claims that you're making, because you're also going after innocent people. You're also going after people who have nothing to do with your ills or your problems. You're going after people who, of course, aren't the source of your problem, and you're just pointing fingers, and you're just hold on. And you're just pointing fingers at them, which is not fair.
Mary's going to walk out.
This is why the conversation with Kanye needed to occur, because I don't necessarily think that he is just making lazy generalizations to blame a group of people for his problems. His problems are not ordinary problems that ordinary people face. And to the extent that we still operate on a meritocratic system, that is how Kanye became the success story that he is. But I think that he's trying to point out ways that his success is now being used against him, and he feels like he's being used as an instrument or a cog in a much larger machine. He doesn't know what to call it, maybe, or he's not impugning it for the right reasons, but that machine does need to be investigated and talked about. That didn't happen tonight, and that's what's so unfortunate about it. There was just like there was too much miscommunication here for that to happen.
He said at the beginning of the interview, it's like, I'm not allowed, like, they can lump together the black vote, but I can't lump together this group's vote, or what, something to that extent. I'm paraphrasing here. And I find that interesting. I do think that I've always believed that Americans are extremely uncomfortable talking about race, and that makes it almost impossible to make any progress on that front, because you are so afraid of saying the wrong thing. And that's what I think would have been maybe the best outcome of this conversation, is to get someone else's perspective who right now is willing to take a huge risk. I know what you're saying. Like, definitely there are people who are willing to blame their problems on, everything's out to get me. This is the system is rooted for me to fail. But I also think that there are, I think the way we view race has creeped so much into our government that we do have systems that specifically are designed to lift people up, and unfortunately can make the playing field unlevel and hurt some groups of people. I don't think that we're able to fundamentally unpack how we view race in this culture, because it's become kind of a left-wing taboo.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.